live, like officially, like since we started calling it Babes and Buds Live on Hi Curious exclusively now. We're here today with Rebecka, and she's one of my good friends, and also she's in school to be a naturalist doctor. So clearly we have lots to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's dive right into it. We don't have much time today. I apologize. My son is homesick from school, and my husband is a farmer in the midst of harvest right now, so he's giving me some crap about watching these kids this morning. But anyway, so Rebecka, you know a lot about a lot of stuff, but
I would like to think so.
we're gonna break it down to just a few topics today, and one of them being how to strengthen your immune system. Especially right now, it's cold and flu season, but it's also COVID season. So, like, what do you know? Lay it on us?
Okay, so this whole COVID thing, I mean, what are we gonna do about that?
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about that? Like, not all of them, but like concise.
Sure, right. So I think at the end of the day, our best tool is to just make our immune systems as healthy as they can be. And that, like, our bodies are so powerful in their own natural healing, and that's the whole philosophy behind naturalist medicine and naturopathy. It's really recognizing that you have the ability to heal yourself and that you can use nature to strengthen yourself. So I would like to approach our immune systems from that aspect rather than any sort of
DNA changing.
Advanced technology that we don't really fully understand.
And very, very PC of way of saying. I'm going to take a note from you on how you're sitting right now, because you just look so zen and comfortable. And this table is from the 1920s. It was not meant for podcasts, so we keep hitting our knees on it.
We're making it work.
It's working. Wow, this is so much better.
It's cozy back here. I like it.
Yes. Ooh, you just changed the vibe.
Right.
So continue, please.
All right, thank you. So, to start off with my favorite topic of food.
Yes.
Food is medicine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that we should always be looking to those sorts of basic things like food in order to strengthen ourselves, and we don't need to get all complicated with some sort of other therapies that, my thoughts on the whole COVID vaccine are clear.
We said the V word. We might get flagged.
I know. Okay.
No, we're on Hi Curious. We're never going to get flagged. This is amazing.
Freedom.
Yes, freedom.
All right. So to dive into it, we've got some key nutrients that are really important for our immune systems that we can get from our food. And these are called selenium. Have you heard of the mineral selenium?
I have heard of selenium. I didn't realize that was something you could consume.
Oh, absolutely. Oh. And consuming, I would say, from food is the best way to get it, and getting a supplement is also a great option.
Okay, what does it do?
So selenium is really important for our DNA regeneration, and it's found mostly in our muscles. So we need it for our strength, and we also need it for our fertility. And so that's really common these days. So many people are having fertility issues, and they're just generally, their bodies are down, their immune systems are down, and selenium is one of those key things that it's hard to find. It's not in a lot of foods, but it's in some key foods.
What are these foods? I'm like on the edge of my seat.
So Brazil nuts are a really great source. And also, if you're eating meat, that's a good thing. They'll get you your selenium. So make sure that you're eating, grass-fed meat. It's going to be higher in that good protein, and it's probably been eating the grass that has the selenium, because all these animals that are like grain-fed and whatnot, they're not going to be as nutrient dense. So get it from our meats, from Brazil nuts, and you can also supplement with it, and it's not a horrible way to get it, but you can just buy straight up selenium as a mineral.
So if you add on the top, don't just do the selenium extract, but also do with the food, and then you should be good.
Yeah, and you can look up a list of just selenium-rich foods and just go for those.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So
I'm definitely going to do that now.
would recommend.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the main minerals that we need for our immune health. And then we also need boron. And that's another fun one.
I didn't know boron. These are like things I remember taking in science class and like hearing. Boron, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you eat boron.
Yeah, we need trace amounts of it. And again, you can look these things up. Like, I'm not going to give an extensive list right now. But it's really important for antiviral action in our body.
Huh.
And it's something that so many people are deficient in, so they're not going out of their way to eat the foods that have it or at least supplement with it.
Yeah. I'm just like thinking right now, Rex has like a viral thing we were just talking about. I'm like, does he need boron? Maybe we should get him some.
Possibly.
What is it in foods? Did you say that?
It is. So it's in yellow foods primarily, and it's also in the skins of things like apple skins.
He's been eating hella apples. I wonder if his body's just like, and bananas.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
That's cool.
I bet his body does know what it needs.
Yeah, well, he's an intuitive baby.
Yeah, kids are. We just forget how to be that way.
Right.
But anyways.
It's okay.
It's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
So boron is another one that's really important to either get in our foods or supplement with. And another is sulfur.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like spicy foods, cruciferous vegetables, plenty of eggs, just like basic things that we probably should be eating, but maybe we go for like a bowl of cereal instead.
Uh-huh.
Like.
Oh my God, he ate like a whole bowl of eggs. My mind is getting blown right now. That's amazing. So, yeah, it's super easy to get off track though. Like when you start eating terribly, if you it doesn't even have to start out terribly. Like you don't just like go to McDonald's and like after eating clean. I'm like, maybe you do, but I feel like for me it's like lots of little decisions that lead to like a purge.
Right.
Yes. So maybe just cut those
out. No, or at least add all this stuff on top of it. Like some of the foods that are really important to be having right now are the foods that are rich in these minerals, and like they're so abundant right now. And you can even you can still have some of the other bad stuff, of course. Like anything that's gonna make you more stressed out is gonna be bad for your immune system, but at least try to add these things in. And we're talking about things like carrots, ginger, cabbage, sweet potatoes,
Sounds like it's a nice soup. All these things that you're saying.
Yeah, that, I could go over some soup right now.
Right? Oh my gosh. So, yeah, I want to go to the grocery store and, buy all these things. I mean, I have most of these things, which is the crazy part. You don't think about them, though, when you're like, oh, I mean, you do, obviously. When you're sick, you're like, okay, let's go into my food cabinet, a.k.a. medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
And that's what more people should do, I feel like.
Yes, I totally agree. I think that's, the whole, where we've gone off track with our, our immune system's being depleted, and we just need to go back to the fundamentals of,
Right. If we were foraging in the forest and we became ill, what would we do?
Mm-hmm. We would probably pick herbs.
What kind of herbs? Let me see. Do you have a list of those?
I do. Oh, and I also have some key herbs that are particularly helpful against COVID, but they're also good for strengthening our immune systems overall.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
So, pine needles.
Really? You just eat pine needles?
You could, or make them into a tea would probably be better.
I just see you munching on some pine needles. But, okay. I think I've done that as a kid, actually. Now that I say that, I'm like, I feel like I've tasted a pine needle before when I was super healthy.
When you were a kid.
But into a tea?
Yeah.
Have you done that before?
I haven't yet, but I plan to this winter. I'd like to try that.
I want to try that too.
Yeah. They're a great source of vitamin C, and researchers are finding that they're they block COVID, particularly.
Go outside, grab some pine needles, put them in some hot water. I'm doing this.
That's it.
You guys, I'm doing this.
That's all you gotta do. How about fennel seeds?
Fennel seeds? I knew that fennel was a thing, but I don't really know what it does.
Well, a lot of wonderful things. It's great for digestion overall. So, you know, put in any sort of tea or cook with it. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with fennel.
Awesome.
You can just chew on it too.
Is it good? Is it like tasty?
Yeah, it's sweet. It's kind of like licorice.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
interesting.
So just find some seeds, and it's something that even, you know, a small child could like just chew on the seeds,
Wow.
and you don't have to worry about anything. It's antiviral. It helps increase milk production. Great for female health.
You guys, I have some fennel right now in my spice rack,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know what I'd use this for. I literally looked at. I guess I like was having some foresight into our conversation.
Oh, probably.
And it like flashed to me yesterday or the day before, and I was like, what would I use this for? Anyway, continue.
There you
You're
go.
blowing my mind.
All right, here's another one. Star anise.
What's that? I've never heard of that one.
You might have it in your spice cabinet. So it's shaped like a star. It's got you buy it. It's like an East Indian spice, you know, kind of
Okay.
exotic. So you're not gonna find it out in the woods here, but you can get it at the store. It's usually used in baking or like apple ciders. It's used for mulling. So it's
All
great.
sounds like good food right now. Like teas, the cider, like.
Yeah.
Wonder if that's how those drinks became popular this time of year.
Crazy.
That's awesome though.
So basics, yeah, just getting those things in.
Oh my god, I want those on a tray with some hot water right now. Like, that just sounds amazing and so fall and so healing. We've got some comments up here. Let me run up here really quick. I didn't hit my knee that time. See,
Good job.
the sitting like that helps. Let's see, what do these say? Things that make you go, yes, Crystal. Good morning, Addie. All right. So, moving right along. Again, I apologize. This morning has to be a little shorter than I'd like. Ow! I cursed myself. I did hit my knee. So anyway, those are all great COVID blocking viral things that I'm now gonna go do. But something I also wanted to talk about was like toxic things, like in everyone's life that you may or may not know are toxic. Because I know you. She comes to my house and she's like, chemicals. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty good about stuff too. I use Young Living,
Yeah.
but
Right.
there are some things that are toxic that I know are toxic and I don't want to admit.
It's hard, yeah. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to completely purge everything and just restart.
Go for it. What's like a top 5?
All right, so I should preface that I only know and care so much about this because I did some grad school in pharmacology and toxicology, so there
we go.
So I'm kind of a nerd about this, and
that's why I asked you.
okay, yeah. I feel like I need to explain myself.
Yeah, no. Go for it. Share your credentials. I get it.
Yeah, so I used to, you know, like all of us use so many products that I just had no idea of like how they were affecting my hormone health and just, oh man, like you ever walk into Bath and Body Works and just get a headache?
Oh no. Oh no. It's the pumpkin pecan waffle.
Yeah.
It smells so good. It's so bad. Should I blow it out?
It's okay for now. It's okay, but like, yeah, odors. So like from candles, like we.
I really need to blow this out now, guys.
No.
She went right for the candle. It smells like fall, but it also smells like toxic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Ugh.
unfortunately, I mean, they might be coming out with like new essential oil lines. I don't know. I could be behind the times, but you do want to make sure in your candles that it's only like natural fragrances.
Yeah.
And like the artificial ones can be a little bit overwhelming, but there are exceptions to the rule. So that's something to look into.
Yeah. And I do have a diffuser. I do fuse oils all the time, but they're expensive. So I have 2 upstairs, and I don't have any down here. So I use my candles down here. It's kind of dark, so it helps with the ambiance. But anyway, enough excuses. Go on.
No, I kind of miss it, honestly.
I know, it's so anyway.
So yes, candles are one source. Maybe not as big of a deal as things that we're like putting on ourselves and in ourselves.
Okay.
So you know, like we can make small exceptions. We can live our lives sometimes, but I think the biggest concern is so many of the things we put into our bodies. You know, like we already know about pharmaceuticals overall,
right?
And the toxicity of that, but even in our food, I think is something where it really builds up. You know, like metal cans, they leach metals. It's the reality, you know, especially when you have some sort of acidic thing in there.
God. And everything's in a metal can that you can grab quickly. Like, I don't drink pop because it's terrible for you. But when my husband and I have our weekend drink times, I do drink out of a can. But I don't know, I'm thinking that I should stop doing that anyway.
Or just like do it less. Yeah, it's like what we do all the time, or at least 80% of the time.
Yeah.
That is making the difference.
That doesn't make me feel as bad, but
you know,
still, like,
just to be aware.
Can't be great. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, like metal, like food cans too. That's another source. Like eating.
Really, like
And there are liners in those metal cans now, but those are plastic based.
So you're still consuming the plastic.
Yeah, so, and eating, you know, it's like once you really start looking at it, it's so many things and it gets overwhelming, but even any liquids in plastics, you know, those will leach over
So
time.
my breast milk in the breast milk bags?
Well, how long does it stay in the bag?
Well, they're stored in the freezer.
That's probably okay.
That's okay?
Yeah, at a colder temperature.
Okay.
And if it's a short amount of time.
You gotta heat them up.
Oh, in the plastic.
They're stuck in there. Shit!
Oh
my God! So I've been thinking about this anyway, because Danny complains about these plastic bags. Not for that reason. He's just being annoying. He's like, there's so many of these things in our freezer. He's like, this is the worst. And like when you thaw them out and have to put them in the bottle, he always makes a huge mess and like wastes all my breast milk. And I'm like, dude, I made that. Like, you can't just spill it all over the fucking counter. Like, this is precious gold.
That is, yeah.
And
I'm sorry.
It's okay, but he's all thumbs, you know. So like he's like, it doesn't understand. I've never spilled it, so I don't understand how it happens. I'm like, you just put it in the thing. But anyway, so he's like, there's gotta be a better way. He's like, this is the dumbest way to store liquid in a fucking bag. And I'm like, yeah, it is pretty stupid, actually.
What can we do about that?
I was thinking about it, and I saw this mom on this, like, TikTok or something. And it was, like, a time lapse of her day, like, working in her office. And she's, like, pumping and, like, feeding with the haka. And, like, she puts it in this cooler in this, like, looks like a Contigo kind of container of some kind.
Nice.
And I'm like, maybe she's onto something.
Yeah.
It's like a milk, like a glass or something, milk jug maybe. Like,
you could just get a milk jug.
there we go.
Just store your
Ah, genius ideas over here.
You know, I did have a cow, so I had to figure out such things as well.
Oh my God. So it turns out the problem-solving skills are really not that hard if you just talk through your problems.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like the things that we're not thinking about that are just like, so. Okay, so I actually, now I'm thinking of it, I use plastic to store the milk in, which I wasn't like, you know.
But you don't have to heat it up.
Exactly, and it was hard plastic. Being a purist, I was like, oh man.
But
I just got them for like $2 at Walmart, like the old frosting containers.
Okay.
And then I would store it in there.
Yeah.
Because I was getting like gallons a day from her.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, I wish I produced that much. Jeez.
Well, it'd probably be like 1,000 pounds heavier.
That's true too. Never mind. Take it back. God's like, oh yeah. So, okay, so I'm shook about the plastic that I'm giving to my child now. That sucks. But the good news is I'm pretty much gone through my supply that I stocked up. I like had an oversupply for a minute because I took these supplements right away. Like I gave birth and then started taking these milk supplements because last time I didn't have a supply at all because I didn't pump. I didn't do anything right. I was a first time mom, so it was like all new to me. And so this time I was like, no, I know what I need to do, and I did it, and I pumped a huge supply, and then we didn't have any room in our freezer. And one of my friends, I like took a picture, posted it on my story, and one of my friends from high school just had a baby at the same time, and her milk dried up, and she asked if she could have some, so I gave some to her, thinking the supply would just keep going, and like then I did that 2 times, and I got mastitis from having an oversupply and not pumping soon enough.
Oh no!
It just like kept building and building as my kid was growing, and so then I wanted my production to slow down because I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't like I was up with the baby or up pumping or like there was never a point of like resting for me. I was just a milk machine.
Wow.
And I was going crazy. So I was like, yeah, this needs to slow down. But in doing so, we went on a lot of trips. We needed a lot of like I started going out more, so I'm leaving it with my mom and she's feeding it to the baby. So now I've got like a tiny supply of milk here, which is fine. Turns out because it was all toxic plastic milk anyway. So
it's not totally lost. Don't throw that out.
I'm not. I can't throw it out.
It's wow. It's still useful and like, you know, if as long as you're not heating it in the plastic, it's like you gotta look at the bigger picture. You know, don't heat your foods in plastic.
Right.
Don't, you know, probably best to not microwave your food overall.
We don't even have a microwave.
Good for you.
We've had so many people try to give us microwaves over the years. Like, my grandma's tried 3 times to give us a different microwave. Like, how do you keep coming across
I mean,
microwaves? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, they're like $5 at, you know, Goodwill these days or something.
It's I know. Like, I literally had, my dad brought a microwave into my house. I said, take it the fuck out.
Yeah. You know, microwaves are just one of those things. Everyone's trying to get rid of theirs.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm moving. Do you want my microwave?
No.
No one wants that.
No one wants your fucking microwave.
You don't want to cook your food in a microwave. It makes your food more toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew this a long time ago, which is why I've stuck with this. Like, that one solid thing has stuck with me forever. And I'm just like, I was going through this phase in my, like, very early 20s where I was like, it was the beginning of the woke culture before it was called being woke, you know? And I was, like, diving down all these rabbit holes and, like, epiphany after epiphany. And I was also doing a lot of psychedelics. And so I was just, like, like, I microdose now, but then I was, like, macrodosing.
Nice.
And, because it was fun, and I didn't have any kids or responsibilities. But I was living in this house with my roommates, and we microwave food constantly. And, like, it got to be the point where, like, when the microwave was on, and this is, like, his grandpa's old house with all of his grandpa's old appliances and stuff, so this is, like, who knows when this microwave was bought. And I could feel it. I could feel it when the microwave turned on in my body, and I was like, something's off. Like, this is not okay. And then I went down that rabbit hole one day, and I was like, oh, no!
Life just got less convenient.
Yes. And so we stopped using the microwave because I blew everyone's mind in the house. I, like, sat down, we had a house meeting, and I was like, look at what you're doing to yourselves.
Man, that is awesome.
Yep.
Wow.
So since that day, it's been like 10 years without a microwave. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm preaching to the choir here.
For me,
I'm preaching to the preacher here.
Yes, others may not be this way, but everyone looks at me like I'm crazy when they come to my house and they're like, you don't have a microwave. I'm like, no. You are correct.
Good observation. Yeah, so that's one of those little, it's not a little thing because it's a big habit, right?
Yes.
So
especially what kills me is like how much kids' food is in plastic that you're supposed to microwave. I will never understand that. And like something I also knew that but like pushed way down deep because I was like, oh, it's too convenient to like, you know, remember all the time. And it's just like whatever, we're on the road in our RV and like we started eating the mac and cheese, like the old Kraft mac and cheese, the Kraft macaroni and cheese, right? it's so nostalgic for me. Like, I love Kraft macaroni and cheese, and so, like, my kids like it now, and I'm like, ooh, numb. And then, like, my phone is spying on me all the time, and, like, these things popped up, but this one was a good thing. Sometimes it's looking out. Sometimes it's like, bitch, you're killing yourself. And it's like, oh, these toxic chemicals, like Kraft macaroni and cheese, and I'm like, damn it. I can't unsee that now. Oh, so now we have two, like, big things of Kraft macaroni and cheese that are just sitting in our cupboard because I won't cook.
They can stay there forever. You can just look at them, feel the nostalgia.
They just take up space.
I get that one too. I had so much Kraft mac and cheese, so many ramen noodles growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, in college, you know, I would, all the stupid things, the most stupid things I've ever done, like, in college. I was trying to make some ramen noodles in the microwave and boil an egg in the microwave.
Oh my god, at the same time?
Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole nother stupid things I've been doing in my 20s. But, yeah.
Oh my god. Microwaves, see?
Microwaves. Don't do it. We don't want to kill our food because that's essentially what it's doing. It's like
zapping it.
Yeah. And we need to be eating, like, live food right now.
Yes.
And getting in nature and being more alive and not making ourselves sterile because we sterilize our food. So that's the key to immunity.
That was so profound. Seriously. So I want to talk about more. I could talk to you about this stuff all day. That's why I'm trying to get you on my show for like 2 years.
Yeah, we just got to start somewhere.
It's literally been 2 years since our hemp harvest.
Dang.
It came down 2 years ago today.
Congrats.
Thank you. That's how I met Rebecka, by the way. She owns a greenhouse that we hung our first hemp harvest in, and it dried there beautifully. And now we're hopefully partnering with you guys for HempFest 2.0.
It's going to happen.
Yay! Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so excited. They have actual farm fields in front of their greenhouse, and they've got parking that isn't my front yard. And your husband mentioned something about having connection to carnival rides. I would love to have a Ferris wheel there if you guys are down. You said it first, so now I'm like picturing it. I'm like, this has to happen.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that. Like, to see.
It's gonna be epic.
Yeah.
This last HempFest was pretty epic, but like next HempFest is like where we're gonna really blow it up. But anyway, that we're getting a little off topic. I didn't even mean to go there. So weed, before we have to leave, because I hear my kids screaming upstairs. A lot of people that don't smoke weed don't understand, like, they're killing themselves with, first of all, their food and their habits or whatever, but also they're like, well, when I want to relax, I just open a bottle of wine. And not realizing how toxic that is, or like they just drink a beer, or they're like, you know, that's what I do. Number one, no one ever just has one beer. No one ever just drinks one drink. There's always at least another one to follow if that's something that you use as your regular way to unwind. And because of the illegality of weed, they're turned off by it because they're like, oh, well, alcohol has to be better for you because it's legal. I can just go to the grocery store and buy it. So, like, you can't just go to the grocery store and buy weed. But as most of us that are watching the show know, weed is non-toxic and alcohol is, like, the most toxic thing you can put in your body.
Potentially.
So I want to dive in a little bit about specifically what I mean about weed being non-toxic. So, I mean, it's natural. It's not made from any chemicals. There's no chemicals, hopefully, going into it during the growing process.
Right. You're picking the good stuff.
If you get weed from Balo Family Farms or the hemp train, it is non-toxic.
So. And it will last you like a year because it's so high quality.
Right. No, it won't go bad.
Yeah. I have so much of it just because it's so good. Like, I only need a little bit. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Anytime. But yeah, so like, just give me a little blurb about how I guess contrast the two, like alcohol and weed, like,
for sure.
How toxic is alcohol? How non-toxic is weed?
Well, as with anything, the dose makes the poison, right? That's at least my philosophy on it. And I think that the dose for how much alcohol is too much is a lot lower than how much weed is too much.
So, like, how much weed is too much weed?
I don't know if it exists.
The limit does not exist. That's why I immediately was like, wait a minute. I didn't know there was a limit on weed. Like, I thought, like, it can't kill you. Like, you can't die from too much weed consumption, but you can pretty easily kill yourself from alcohol. Mm-hmm. Alcohol poisoning or, like, long-term alcohol effects.
Right, like, on your liver, you know, it's really harsh on that.
Yeah.
We all know about that. Right. But weed, it's more of a matter of, I think, where your brain is able to be with and without it. And so I always ask, what happens when you take the thing away, you know? And if you're able to ingest weed all the time and you take it away and you feel fine, then it's helped you overall. But if you take away alcohol, you feel worse, right?
And you go through withdrawals, all of that stuff, because you're not supposed to just, if you're like consuming alcohol all the time, you're not supposed to just stop because you could die.
Like, literally.
It's not funny. I'm not laughing. Like, this is a serious thing that happens, but like, yeah. I don't know how that doesn't make more sense to people. Like, you literally can kill yourself if you are drinking every day and then you stop drinking. You can die. Mm-hmm. And if you keep drinking every day and never stop drinking, you will die. But if you smoke weed every day and stop smoking weed, you're not going to die.
Yeah, you might be a little depressed.
Right. You might be a little cannabinoid deficient.
Exactly. So you got to address the cannabinoid deficiency, right?
Right.
Why isn't your body able to make its own?
Right.
You know, that's...
Because it does make its own without weed, whether you consume weed or not. And some people don't realize that. Like, I posted something about cannabinoids found in breast milk, and some girl that I used to go to school with was like, well, there's no cannabinoids in my breast milk. I'm like, actually, bitch, there are. Yeah. That's why babies get sleepy when they drink your breast milk. That's how it fucking works. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, well said. Yeah, we make our own. That's so true. And as long as you're not getting, like, weird, genetically modified, synthetic weed, that could be toxic.
Let's segue to that for a second, because, yes, I talked to you about this before. Like, my husband would know more about this than me, but I want to call it Gmo Weed, because that's basically what it is, but it's the Plant Regulation PGR.
Plant
Growth Regulator.
Yeah.
And I was going to print off a picture of it like they do in, like, science class with the different things, but I didn't have time because my kid got sick. But the PGR weed is really hot on the market right now. Like, the market is flooded with this shit. And it literally looks like, you guys know, moon rocks, like when they take weed, trim it all up, roll it in resin, and then dip it in keef. That's a moon rock, and they look like weird, like these like moss covered balls, and like get you way too high. And I don't really understand the point of those, but that's not. This is just how the weed looks. You're not rolling it in anything. It's like smooth, round, strange looking weed. I think I sent you a picture of it.
I think so. Yeah, that was.
It's everywhere, and it does make the weed look like good, but there's less terpenes in it. It doesn't get you as high. Like, the THC percentage is way lower. It looks like it should be way higher because it's crystally, because it's fucking genetically modified weed, and it also gives you cancer. So mine and Danny's theory right now, because the market's super flooded. If you're a caregiver, if you're in the rec market as a mom and pop, you know how flooded the market is right now. And it's flooded with this shit, and like, people want it because it's pretty, because it's got bag appeal, but it's fucking fucked. Like, it doesn't taste good, it doesn't smoke good, it's not like a good, it just like has bag appeal, so people like it. And unfortunately, people don't know anything about this right now, and they're like, I want to know who's actually growing this, because I have a theory. Danny and I think that all of the commercial industries that are moving into Michigan right now, and everywhere, like, big weed is a thing now. Like, there's big pharma, now it's big weed. Like, you got these big dispensaries like Cookies, like, you know, Sweet Leaf, all of these huge companies are coming to these little states that are blowing up in the rec market, and it's a huge battle right now with caregiver rights and rec rights and all this shit, like, just to stay in the market as a mom and pop is getting harder and harder. But you can't, you will never be able to compete with the black market unless you sabotage it with GMO weed or PGR weed. And so that's what Danny and I were like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would people want to grow this weed? And we're like, well, if you had millions of dollars in the weed industry and you could just, you know, have leftover equipment and seeds, you could just grow all this shit. Literally and then flood the fucking black market with it, so that people are like, oh, I don't feel safe buying this weed. I don't want to buy that weed because I know where that's from. I'm going to go to the dispensary and buy this other weed. And it can't be just like a mom and pop dispensary. It's got to be one of these big name dispensaries because they for sure look out for this. I think they planted it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so weird, like, how suddenly, you know, because suddenly weed is okay and everyone, you know, it's a little suspicious to me.
It's a little suspicious.
Yeah, and unfortunately I think it's just going to perpetuate, or it is perpetuating the whole division between the, you know, alcohol and weed people.
Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, see,
those two halves of
weed gives you cancer now.
Yeah, and yes, it does, because this stuff is genetically modified. That's cancer. Anything GMO.
Right.
Like, when you start messing with the genes of things, like, it turns into toxicity. Like, literally the gene influences all these proteins, and if you change one gene, you're changing a lot more than just that one thing.
Yeah.
They call it, in genetic modification, it's called, like, ballistics. Like, they use terms like ballistics to describe how they are changing. Like, they shoot, like, little tiny particles at the DNA to just, like, make it explode and, like, rearrange.
What?
And so, like, think about what you eat.
Jesus.
And so when you're eating things that have just had their DNA, like, exploded, it starts doing weird stuff in our bodies. And the fact that they're using plant growth regulators, which are just plant steroids.
Right.
Like, you're getting steroid weed.
See, we used to joke when we gave our plants nutrients that we were juicing them up with steroids, but we're like, no, now it's, like, actually happening. We can't even joke anymore. We're just giving ours vitamins. Like, we're composting. Not actually giving them steroids. Oh my God, I could talk to you about this all day, but this just has me like, oh. Yeah. So do you want to do this non-toxic dab with me? Solventless dab. Can you do a dab right now?
I will do one with you. I'll do a baby dab.
Yay. This is all we have right now because my husband got into a heated argument on Facebook this morning while I was getting ready for the show and did not give me more. Just to throw him under the bus a little bit.
Come on, Danny.
Get it together, Danny. No, it's okay. This is more than enough. I'm starving right now. Are you hungry? I know you.
Well,
yeah.
What are we gonna do for breakfast?
I don't know. Nothing GMO or in plastic.
Some apples.
Yeah, Danny went to the grocery store when I did this. I did this cool brand shoot. If you guys don't know, on my Instagram, go check it out. There's like 5 or 6 different companies that set up this whole styled look in like our backyard. It was like this wedding and this festival. Check it out. It's crazy. But anyway, that day I needed Danny to watch the kids and go grocery shopping. And this never happens. Like, I don't know the last time Danny went grocery shopping, honestly. Or had both of the kids. And I had Ari for most of the day. But anyway, Danny went to the grocery store. Didn't get, like, most of the list. But somehow bought beer. Remembered to buy beer.
Was it in a metal can?
Yes, it was.
Come
2
on,
strikes.
Danny.
Double strike. Double strike.
He tried.
You know.
A little bit.
I could have a worse partner in life for sure. Mm-hmm. He makes it happen in lots of other ways. But, yeah. Anyway, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for coming on. I love you so much. I love all of you guys. Thank you for